Something about Barack Obama came into focus for me yesterday. Since he came into the public eye, he has maintained that he does not favor reparations. And I look back at monologues that I did over a year ago, and I went through the transcripts in the archives because something stood out to me. In fact, I said it on television, a week ago? Do you remember that chart that came out, the organizational chart of the House Democrats' health plan? And I asked on television, I saw it, and I asked on television, I said, why is there the Office of Civil Rights and the Office of Minority Health? Nobody had an answer. Okay? Then 2 days ago, I look into the health bill, and I see that if you are if you want to become a doctor, your college can get grants if they favor minority admissions. If you have a standard that is bringing more diversity into campus. Then yesterday, before I went on the air, it all fell in place. Barack Obama does not favor reparations. I remembered that because it was happening during does he favor reparations? And his answer stuck out to me, and I did a monologue on it. First of all, let's just say this. This is a sensitive topic. Things in this monologue are going to be taken out of context, and, I'm going to be deemed a racist, and I don't care anymore. Say whatever you want. Let the chips fall. I know the truth. My family knows the truth. My friends know the truth. Whatever. There are strong feelings on both sides about reparations. I know you won't be surprised to hear that I'm opposed to reparations. To me, hold on, right-wing zealot alert here, there are eternal principles at stake. Or if you prefer, you can call them universal principles because that's in vogue now. First, it's universal college, universal health care, universal government. If I just say it's a universal principle, maybe Obama can get behind it. But one of my fundamental beliefs in my faith is that I am not accountable for anybody else's sins. I am only accountable for what I do. One of the things that drives me is I'm not accountable on whether you see the truth, don't see the truth, save yourself, don't save the self. I am accountable for what I do. And if I see something and I don't warn you, then I am accountable for everybody that I didn't warn. However, if I warn them, that's your deal, man. You don't have to follow. You don't have to pay attention. You can reject it because, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. But if I believe it, I need to say it. I'm not accountable for anybody else's sins, not my ancestors, not my family's, not even Adam's. I am only accountable for what I do. And that is something that I believe to my very core. But why is Barack Obama supposedly opposed to reparations? He doesn't share my faith. In fact, he attended a Black Liberation Theology church for 20 years. Black Liberation Theology teaches it is the white man that has kept you down. It is the white man that you must take money from, you must take power from to make up for the past. So that doesn't fit. Did he suddenly come down with with that 24-hour case of logic and reason that's not going around in Washington? No. He, like virtually everybody else out there, has been immunized, so there's no chance of that. Did he realize suddenly that if he weren't to pay out reparations, or if he were to pay out reparations to millions of African Americans, that would throw the door wide open to the Native Americans as well? And they wouldn't just want money, they'd want their land back. And the rest of us would all be on boats headed back to the motherland. The problem is, I don't know what the motherland is anymore. Every country on earth has been populated by people who are not indigenous to it. Every country on earth has been bought, appropriated, conquered, or stolen. I mean, I guess we could find the original bush or the original cave, in Africa or Babylon where we first crawled out of and called it home, try to jam 6 billion people into it. The environmentalists would love it because it would be great for the rest of the planet, but they would be talking about how the cave life there for 6 billion would be unsustainable and bad for the bats. So I'm guessing that's not why Obama claims he opposes reparations. Neither is he concerned about repairing other wrongs done to other groups of people. For instance, I think the Jews could make a pretty strong case against Germany for the whole World War II thing, Not to mention Egypt. 400 years of bondage. But wasn't Barack Obama over there just now in Egypt, blaming Egypt's problems on the Jews? What about reparations for slavery of the Egyptians enslaving the Jews? And on top of that, they've had to deal with Barbara Streisand. Can't we leave these people alone? Then there's the ethnic Albanians, the Kurds, the Tutsis, the Hutus, the non-majority population of Darfur, the Cambodians, nearly every other ethnicity that has ever arrived on the shores of this country has been at first beaten down. How about the Irish? Does Ted Kennedy's family need reparations? How about the Asians that built the railroads in slave-like conditions? Do they need reparations? How about faiths? How about the Jews? How about the Mormons? Does Mitt Romney, does he need reparations? He seemed to do pretty well for himself, even though his faith, the people in his faith in the 1850s, same time as slavery, killed, tarred, feathered, dragged from their homes, beaten. Their homes, their places of worship burned to the ground, chased by mobs out of every town in which they settled, starting in New York all the way across the country. The U.S. Army was sent in to attack them after they arrived in a city they called home. They decided not to when they got there. In Missouri, the governor of the state issued an extermination order against them in 1838. An extermination order. It is the only one in the history of the country where it was legal to kill a group of people. And it wasn't rescinded until 1976. Did they receive reparations? No. All they got was Donnie and Marie and Harry Reid. These people can't even drink their way into drunken stupors to forget their troubles. They moved on. But none of that enters into Barack Obama's thinking. He doesn't even consider the 360,000 Union troops killed in the Civil War as debt paid. And don't even think about asking him about affirmative action. That wasn't any kind of reparation. Neither was Black Entertainment Television, Black History Month, United Negro College Fund, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, Rainbow Push Coalition, 100 Black Men of America. None of these things could exist for whites. And Obama couldn't care less. It's not about doing the right thing and uniting. Could it be that Obama realizes the incomprehensible nightmare that reparations would present to the country? Things like who would pay? How much? Do all whites pay? Even if they can prove their ancestors weren't slave owners, weren't even here at the time. Would Hispanics and Asians pay? If so, how? How much? Maybe just the rich whites would pay, say another 9 or 10% surcharge. What the heck? They can afford it. They don't even work for their money. They've been handed everything. These people don't work. They wake up in the morning, they tell their servants, Jeeves, go out and pluck me some cash from my magic fairy money tree in the yard. I say $2 or $3 million should be enough for today. And then get out of my sight, you nauseate me. And do you have the sniffles? Oh, we should exterminate you. Would Great Britain pay, since this was their colony at the time slavery was instituted? How about the Dutch for their involvement? For that matter, what about the ancestors of black African slave traders who sold their own people in Africa in the first place? Then there's this question. Who would receive the money? All blacks? Or just those directly descended from slaves? Would Barack Obama, whose white mother was from Kansas and black father from Kenya? I know the story. I've only heard it more than I have heard about John McCain's war stories. Wait a minute. His father was not a descendant of slaves and his mother was white. So maybe Michelle Obama would be the only one that should be able to get the cash. Since Obama is half white and half black, would he pay and receive? See, these are the tricky questions, but then again, they have nothing to do with Obama's objection to reparations.